Hey, 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 it's Tia, baby, and I am back with another video. So, my apologies for this video that came out earlier today. Took forever. I uploaded the video last night and it wasn't trying to upload. I had to delete it and re-upload it, and it still was taking all day to upload. I think it was where I was and the service was bad. So apologies for it coming out late, but it's out. Please, you guys, view my video, share it, because the views ain't looking too good right about now. But you all wanted me to read this book, so I'm reading it, but I ain't really getting no views on it. So do me a favor, spam the like button, view it, share it, bring others to my channel who love Selena as well, because I'm trying to, I'm trying to expand my channel, based on Selena. Even though I do talk about other celebrities, but I mainly talk about Selena because, her story is so, it's so profound. It's like it's like you wish you were there to help her, to save her from, those that did her wrong. And it was like, I'm going to explain more about that when I get towards the end of the book because it made me feel like I needed to rescue her. I don't know if anybody else got that same feeling when they read the book, but yeah, it's just her, instead of saying profound, her story is just captivating. So that's why my channel grew over the years because I talked a lot about Selena. So if you guys want me to talk more about her and do more videos on her, I got to get these views up. If not, then it's a wrap. But I'm gonna finish out chapter 9 and then I'm gonna read chapter 10 tomorrow. So here we go. I knew that I could play the music the label wanted us to do for a mainstream English language album. The other guys couldn't, other than Ricky, probably, but wasn't where his heart was. If Selena was going to stay at the top of her game and made it in the mainstream commercial music world, she needed to be backed up by a band as tight and sophisticated as Mariah Carey's or Whitney Houston's. She didn't have that in Los Dinos. So what do you want to do? I asked. Do you want to not make the album? Selena cried harder. Hearing this, I already signed the contract. Besides, I want to make it, but I just don't know if I can be singing on stage, turn around and not have ABCDFG and Suzette up there with me. It's not going to be the same. No, I agreed. It won't be the same. I took a deep breath and then asked, are you telling me that if you thought of this before, you would have told them you wouldn't make the English album? Selena looked at me in the eyes and nodded. Yes, that's what I would have said. I was conflicted. I knew that Selena wanted to succeed on an international level. That's what she had worked so hard for all of her life. But I also understood her enduring loyalty and love for her family. Everything is going to be fine, I said at last, even though I only partly believe this. Suzette can take drum lessons and ABCDFG can start stretching himself on the bass. They can learn and we'll still play some Spanish songs with the other guys for more Tejano albums too. You really think we can make it work? Selena asked. We can try, I said. That's all anybody can do, right? Selena Live came out on May 4th, 1993. Shortly after Selena gave me the truck for our first wedding anniversary. When it was nominated for a Grammy, none of us could believe it. Despite all of our recent successes, Selena and I flew to New York with Suzette, ABCDFG, and his wife for the award ceremony in Radio City Music Hall. Of course, we were all excited to be nominated, but I don't think any of us ever imagined that we might actually win. Selena and I were mainly thrilled to have a chance to meet some of the performers we admired, or at least see them perform in person. I was particularly looking forward to seeing Sting, but the one Selena couldn't wait to see was Whitney Houston, who was one of her favorite singers. And I remember that Whitney Houston and Selena was at the same Grammy Awards, and they kind of had a similar hairstyle, and they both wore like a similar color dress. As our plane began to descent over the Manhattan skyline, I looked past Selena and out the window. The Twin Towers loomed in the distance and couldn't believe how tall they were. I thought those must be the buildings that King Kong had climbed on in the movies I watched as a kid. We could see the Statue of Liberty too, small but gleaming in the distance, and a tingle of excitement ran up my spine. I couldn't believe that I was finally going to see New York City. And now he goes all the time, if you catch my drift. We took a limo from the airport to a hotel around the corner from Radio City Music Hall. As Selena and I stepped out onto the sidewalk in front of the hotel, we were immediately assaulted by the smells, the blaring car horns, and the crowds of people. New York was nothing like Corpus or even San Antonio. Selena entered the hotel ahead of me. As I moved to follow her into the lobby, an angry altercation broke out on the street as a taxi driver got out of his car and started yelling and swearing at another driver, who came right over and banged on the taxi's hood with his fist. I must have come inside in a hurry with some weird expression in my face, because Selena said, "Everything okay, Chris?" "I don't know," I said. "These two guys was fighting outside. A taxi cab driver and some other guy." "Don't go back out there alone," she advised. I immediately agreed. We had seen New York City in the movies, but it seemed like the people here were even crazier than they seem on film, and they are. Sorry, my apologies for any New Yorkers up there out here, but when I visit up in New York, oh my gosh, rude. Like some of the people are rude. Like I almost got hit by a car just walking across the street because they were just impatient. And I'm just like, what? Like, it was crazy. And then the rats is just everywhere in the subway. I took the subway for the first time up there. It was dirty. I was just like, gross. It's nothing like my city. Like, I think I went to a couple of establishments in there, and they already assumed that I was from another city because my accent. I didn't know I had an accent, but they thought I was from the deep south, because to them they speak New Yorkish. But I don't have a southern accent. I'm not from the deep south, but my city is considered a part of the American South, but we're not from the dirty South, so I don't have that accent. But I do have a distinct accent, but it's not Southern. It's more metropolitan, but it's nothing compared to, New York. I do not like New York. I don't like it. It's not my thing. When I stayed there for a couple of nights because I had a relative of mine who danced up there, and her mother needed someone to watch her, while she was in this, program over the summer, and I could not wait to go home. I just it was a nightmare. I didn't like it. I was just out of my element. I just wanted to go home. But kudos to anybody that wants to live in New York. I know a friend of mine, she loves New York, and that's her dream, to live there. I was like, kudos to you, because I would not, I do not like New York. But on to the story. So the award show wasn't until that night. Abraham arranged for Selena to have meetings with record label executives that day. So she went to those with ABCDFG and then went shopping with Suzette. I did end up braving the New York City streets alone, meanwhile, and bought some gear I couldn't find in Texas. For the show, Selena wore a floor-length beaded white dress with a fishtail hem in the back. She was really nervous by then, and kept losing her temper with me. because the back of the dress dragging on the floor and I kept walking too close on it and stepping on it by mistake. Back up a little bit, Chris, she whispered at one point. It's hard enough to walk in this thing, and you stepped on my hem. I'm going to fall, and I'm sure don't want to do that right here in front of everybody. We all sat together in Ready City Music Hall Theater when Selena's name was called as the Grammy winner in the Best Mexican American Album category. We all jumped up out of our seats and cheered. Oh, Chris, Selena whispered to me, I can't believe I won. I gave her a hug and then nudged her. Come on, come on. You got to go down there and make your speech. What if I fall on this dress? Oh, please don't let me trip and fall. Oh, please don't let me trip and fall on the way down there. I heard her murmur as she made her way out to the aisle and started towards the stage. Selena didn't trip, and she had never looked more beautiful than that night in her beaded white dress, with her hair timed into an elegant updo as she gave her brief speech thanking Jose Bahar, the band, and all of her family members. And I will say kudos to Gregory Nava, who is the director of the Selena movie. He did a great job casting Jennifer Lopez because J-Lo really did a great job as Selena, and she really looked identical to Selena when she had that infamous Grammy dress on. Like, they look like twins. You can tell a little bit that they wasn't the same person, but they look spot on, and it was good. It was good. Like, I'm still to this day like, why? And I'm just not shocked because Grammys are known to not give, well, not Grammys, Oscars are not known to give people of color an award, but it's way overdue. Um, Jennifer Lopez should have been got an Oscar portraying Selena because she did a great job. She did a great job physically and her deliverance. And back then, myself and other people thought that was J Lo that was singing those songs, but it was actually Selena's voice. That's how great she lip synced those songs and made it look like it was her. So it's way overdue, and it's not too late for her to get an Oscar. But I really feel like she should get an Oscar for that, as well as, like, off topic, Angela Bassett. She never got an Oscar for playing the role of Tina Turner, and she should have because she did a great job. So, but they're known to not really give a lot of people of color an award, Oscar award. But, what can you do? After the speech, Selena was whisked away backstage while the rest of us enjoyed watching the remainder of the show. Selena had been so starstruck by the idea of meeting other artists at the Grammys that she had brought a camera to take pictures of herself with them. Unfortunately, they hadn't allowed us to bring the cameras into the theater, so I knew that she must be feeling frustrated backstage. Besides, I thought with a grin, Selena would be the one that everyone would want pictures of now, since she was one of the winners. As we left Radio City Music Hall that night, we heard people screaming Selena's name outside. She couldn't believe they knew her name, but she was still cool, waving at them like she was the first lady or something, even though that whole time she was worried about falling on that dress. Then it was all over, and Selena could say that she had won a Grammy. It's funny how winning a Grammy doesn't seem like such a big deal until you win it. And then it's a very big deal indeed, mainly because you've been recognized by the music industry and other doors being opened up to new opportunities around you, simply because you've earned the industry's nod of approval. For ABCDFG too, this was a big day. He had been trying to get people to pay attention to his production quality, and at the end of the day, he was recognized as a great producer. We were all parts of his puzzle, but he was the one who had put the pieces together. Many thought of Selena as a solo artist. The name Los Dinos had even been dropped from Grammy, and we were credited only on the back yet. I knew that every time we put on a new record, other groups were now trying to imitate our sounds, and we would be for a long time to come. Selena was right. All of us had come to rely upon one another as family, and it was important for us to stick together. So, my apologies. I guess I was so into this book that I didn't even realize I was reading chapter 10. So let me go back to make sure where chapter 10 started, because I didn't know that. I don't know. I'm trying to think. Like, when did I read chapter 10? Well, I guess I did, and didn't even realize it. So I need to change the chapters in the first, in the at least part 2 and part 3, or 1, 2, and 3, because I've read chapter 9 already. So I'm going to stop here and read chapter. Well, you know what? I'm gonna read 3 pages from chapter 11, and then I'm gonna stop. So let me do that, because it's only 16 minutes in the video. So I'm going to read 3 pages of chapter 11, and then I'm going to read, then it's going to be probably a 3-part as well for chapter 11, because it's 41 pages. So yeah, I won't be finished. I guess I'll read chapter 12 on, not Friday, Saturday or Sunday. So let's get this started. Chapter 11. Nope. Dictator had once called me a cancer in the Quintanilla family. I turned out to be benign. Nobody detected the real cancer, which appeared in the form of a short, homely woman named, oh gosh, Oompa Loompa, because I'm not saying her name, Oompa Loompa. I first met Oompa shortly before Selena and I were married, when we were still seeing each other on the down low. My first memories of Oompa was vague. I used to see her at some of our shows, usually in San Antonio. Occasionally, she would be on the bus, too, visiting with Selena and Suzette. Once I became acquainted with her, I might say, hey, what's up, if I walked by Oompa at a show or on the bus, but that was it. Beyond that, everything I knew about Oompa at first was hearsay. To me, she was just another friend of the Quintanilla family, a friend whom everyone seemed to like and trust. I was polite to her, but that was as far as our relationship went in those early years. I had heard somewhere that Oompa, a registered nurse, attended one of Selena's concerts in 1991 and was apparently so entranced by Selena's music that she had approached Suzette, who was in charge of Selena's merchandising. Oompa had proposed starting a fan club in San Antonio. I hadn't paid much attention to this story at the time. Selena had so many fans, and by the time Selena and I were a couple, Oompa seemed to do a great job as her fan club president, rapidly adding members in the San Antonio area. Members could pay to belong to the fan club and receive t-shirts, posters, and other souvenirs in exchange for their membership fee. Or they could belong for free and receive a monthly newsletter with a schedule of where we were playing. Oompa seemed to live for her job as Selena's fan club president. She was older than we were and acted very sincere and professional. She seemed to want nothing more than to help Selena in any way she could, acting maternal towards her at first, very sweet and caring. What none of us knew at the time is that Oompa had first approached Shelley Lars, whom I had played with before joining Los Dinos, with the same kind of proposition. Shelley's father, Fred, had turned Oompa down. Smart father of hers. Shelley was the one who initially introduced Oompa to Suzette, and I bet to this day she regrets it. We also had no idea that OOMPA had his history of legal troubles. She had defaulted on her student loans, and one of her employees, a dermatologist, had sued OOMPA in 1983, claiming that she had stolen money from his business. So it seems like they all, he said they had no idea. Okay. Because I was about to say, if y'all knew this, why did y'all hire her? Come on. But they didn't know. Okay. So why did Dictator, usually so cautious, trust OOMPA? Great question, because I explained that in one of my videos in the past, that he was so trusting and, brushed her off, but was so distrusting against Chris, follow him or all around Texas trying to find him like a pervert, and just like when Chris was the least of his worries, but he was so trusting to to Oompa Loompa. That makes no entire sense. That's why I did a video about, did him and Oompa Loompa have some type of affair going on, because it's crazy how people was coming to him about Oompa Loompa's issues and he brushed it off. If more than one person is saying the same thing or something similar about a person, then 9 times out of 10 it's probably true. So, question to think about. Something to think about there. Let's move on. Probably because Oompa seemed so harmless and played her cards just right. Nah, ain't gonna ride with me. She was very sweet, very soft spoken, and extremely respectful towards Dictator, I'm sure. Suzette had introduced Oompa Loompa to him. Oh, so Susie did this. So she introduced Oompa to him. Okay. And he liked the idea of having someone outside the family manage the fan club. Oh, but you didn't like the fact that it was somebody outside the family to marry your daughter. Okay. What kind of management is that? And what kind of father is that? You didn't trust a man outside of the family to marry your daughter when he showed nothing but good respect for your daughter, but you trusted a woman outside the family to handle money and manage your daughter? Okay. Whatever. So he liked the idea of having someone outside the family manage the fan club since the rest of them were so overwhelmed. Oompa proved to be especially useful in San Antonio, where we often stay to work in the studio, play in the shows. The Quintanillas and the band all came by the bus, so Suzette and Selena were stranded unless Oompa took them to run errands in her car, a clown car. For whatever reasons, Dictator, usually so mistrustful of outsiders, welcomed Oompa into the inner circle of people who were known and trusted by the Quintanilla, because he was tapping that. And he was tapping it, allegedly tapping that. Tapping at her. I'm just saying. Just like Chris said, he is so mistrusting towards other people outside the family, but so trusting in her. Make that make sense. Okay. Fan club can ruin you if things aren't run the right way, and people don't get the items or the newsletters they were promised. Selena explained to me. I'm so glad that Oompa is running things the way she is. The fan club keeps growing, and everybody's really happy. To show how grateful she was to Oompa, Selena often gave her gifts. Oompa seemed to have a thing for spotted cows because she looked like one. For instance, Selena brought her an expensive rug with a cow on it. She also brought her a cow phone on a trip to Los Angeles. Slowly, Oompa was becoming closer to Suzette and Selena, who both treated her like another sister. When it was time to make Selena's big dream come true, then it seemed natural for Selena to call upon her good friend for help. Whether she was at home with me or on the road, Selena was always sketching fashion designs and making clothing and accessories with her own hands. She had loved fashion since childhood and took delight in her bag of metal glue, pliers, and costume jewelry. She was always working on a new belt or jazzing up her stage outfits at the last minute. So I'm going to end here, and I'm going to continue part 2 for chapter 11. Peace.